From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, December 20th. It is a snowy and rainy start to your Friday morning. This could mean some slick conditions out there. Sort of depends on where you are at. We're towing the line with the temperatures, but it's going to get colder, and the wind gusts could get up to 20 to 25 miles per hour today. Already, at Notre Dame's campus, there is snow this morning ahead of the big college football playoff game between IU and Notre Dame. Do expect the possibility of another round of snow showers to come through today. Nothing of high impact here in central Indiana, but could slicken things up on the roads.
Looking for ways to save on your energy bills? AES Indiana has you covered. From smart thermostats to home energy assessments, we offer simple solutions to keep your home comfortable and your costs down. AES can help you save money and energy with kits, tips, rebates, and more. Visit aesindiana.com/ways to save to learn more about how we can help you save money. AES Indiana, helping you discover real ways to save.
The sentencing of the man convicted in the Delphi murders happens this morning. It started at 9. Richard Allen's legal team is working to have some of his convictions tossed out ahead of it. News 8's Colin Bailey is at the Carroll County Courthouse this morning, breaking down what we expect to happen in this morning's hearing.
Yeah, within the last 15 minutes, Richard Allen showed up right here, right where you see that Ram truck right there. He showed up at 8:47 this morning. We couldn't get a good look at him, but we did see that the orange jumpsuit and him walk in with the sheriff's department. But again, this hearing is underway right now, began at 9 a.m. But before the sentencing hearing, Richard Allen's defense team is working to get 2 of his felony convictions for the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German thrown out. His attorneys say Allen cannot constitutionally be convicted twice for the same crime. The jury found Allen guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of felony murder. Earlier this morning, we spoke to the host of the Murder Sheet podcast about what might happen in today's hearing. They say don't expect to see a lot from the defense.
Richard Allen's team has signaled through court filings that they do not believe that this is the end of the story, that they believe they have grounds for an appeal and a potential second trial. And so because of that, they instructed Richard Allen not to participate in any of the processes or procedures leading up to this sentencing hearing.
And following the sentencing hearing, a gag order will be lifted, and we are scheduled to hear from the families of Abby and Libby for the first time since charges were filed. So again, about 8:47, Richard Allen was dropped off here at the Carroll County Courthouse, and this hearing is just underway right now, started at 9 a.m. We'll have team coverage all day long out here on air and online as well. But for now, outside of the Carroll County Courthouse, I'm Colin Bailey for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
IMPD says a man armed with a machete and a gun is dead after a police shooting on the west side that officers say started with that man shooting a woman. No officers were hurt. News 8's Raina Revel talked to people who live in the neighborhood where the shooting took place.
Local residents are expressing their safety concerns in this neighborhood, with a 30-year resident noting unprecedented violence.
I was worried about my family. I was worried about my peers. I know everybody in this neighborhood, so I was just concerned about everybody. I was just hoping it wasn't a child. I was hoping it, I didn't know what to think. I was kind of like speechless, but it's nothing new around here either.
According to IMPD, officers were dispatched to the scene to investigate a report of a person shot. While canvassing the area for a suspect, police say they encountered a man with a machete and a firearm. Police say at some point, an officer opened fire.
While the male suspect was on the ground, he continued to reach towards one of the weapons despite the officer's verbal commands. One officer fired another round.
The suspect was transported to a local hospital where he later died. Officers say this is not the first police shooting involving weapons like a machete.
I mean, any kind of weapon, edged or otherwise, and you put anyone in danger is just not something we want to see. In this particular case, we had shots fired at an officer. We had a woman shot. We had a firearm pointed at other community members. And then to add to that, we had a machete, which to my understanding had a pretty substantial sized blade on it.
For residents like Michelle Clint, she's grateful for the police and plans to check on her neighbors more often.
Not every day's promised, guys. Just love each other, forgive each other, keep each other close. We all need each other. We all have a purpose. We all need, God is with us all. That's all I can really say. Put your family and God first.
Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Raina Revel for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
One of the biggest football games in IU history is finally here. The Hoosiers and Notre Dame Fighting Irish kick off the college football playoff tonight in South Bend. Both teams are led by senior quarterbacks. IU's Curtis Rourke says he started to build confidence all the way back in the spring during workouts, while Notre Dame's Riley Leonard is relying on previous big game experience.
It was tough in the spring a couple times with just getting time and chemistry and all that, and then progressing through the summer and getting to fall camp, we really hit stride.
I've been in every situation, felt the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. So this, I've played in a lot of big time games too, right?
Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network joined Daybreak with his expert perspective ahead of this huge in-state matchup.
Let's start with IU.
Sure.
What are the keys for IU to potentially win?
I think it's learn the lessons from the Ohio State game, from their obvious loss in a game where there were some uncharacteristic mistakes for this team, especially on special teams. Let's be honest, the punt team has not been used that much this year. When they were used against Ohio State, things did not go well for them. And so I think it's pretty bland and vanilla, but it's very applicable here. Play a mistake-free football game. Don't on the road at this stage give your opponent short fields. Don't give them turnovers. Make Notre Dame beat you. That may sound simplistic, but I think against Ohio State, they kind of handed that one away. So learn from that moment, learn from that stage from back in mid-November.
What about when it comes to Notre Dame?
Yep.
What does Notre Dame have to do?
I think for Notre Dame, it comes down to Riley Leonard. And again, Riley has been their quarterback this year, and Riley seemingly has been just as effective, if not more so, in the run game than he has been the passing game. And obviously, conditions tonight, they're getting a little more snow up in South Bend than we are here. Going to be a little bit colder there than it is here. Can they throw the football if IU takes away the running game? And so I think a lot of this comes down to what does the quarterback do for the Irish this evening?
Kickoff for tonight's game is at 8 o'clock. Notre Dame is that favorite. Our sports team will be live in South Bend starting at 4 this afternoon on Wish TV. If you can't get the hot ticket and actually go to Notre Dame for the game in person, well, two Imagine movie theaters in Indiana will be showing it tonight. Imagine Noblesville on Norrell Road, just off of I-69, and Imagine Portage up north in Portage on American Way, just off of State Road 6. It costs $20 per person. The theater says both locations will also show the second-round matchup where the winner of the IU and Notre Dame game will face Georgia on New Year's Day. Former Purdue basketball great and assistant coach Frank Kendrick has died. He was born in Indianapolis and graduated from Arsenal Tech High School. Kendrick played 3 years at Purdue and helped the team win the NIT in 1974. He was a member of the Golden State Warriors NBA championship team the next season, and he later came back to Purdue as a longtime assistant coach to Gene Cady. He was inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame in 2002. Frank Kendrick died at 74 years old. The end of today marks the deadline to fund the government and avoid a shutdown. But yesterday, the House rejected a spending plan backed by President-elect Donald Trump. The vote is a setback for Trump, who blasted an earlier bipartisan deal to keep the government open. About 36 Republicans joined House Democrats in opposing this latest measure. If a bill is not passed today, a partial government shutdown will begin at 12:01 a.m. Saturday morning. A 60-year-old man is dead after a semi-fire Thursday morning. It happened near the Greenwood exit of I-65. The Indianapolis Fire Department says the semi hit several interstate signs and part of the guardrail. Then the truck caught fire. IFD says it was very difficult to get water to the fire. They had to haul it in because the crash happened far from any hydrants. It took firefighters about 45 minutes to put out the flames. IFD says it is not clear if the driver had a medical emergency leading to the crash. Your statewide news network covers Vigo County, where the ATF is offering a $10,000 reward for information about a burglary at a gun store in Terre Haute. The break-in happened at the Wabash Valley Armory at around 4:30 yesterday morning. Now, the ATF is looking for 2 cars. You can see their pictures now on Wish TV. A maroon 2007 Chevy Malibu and a gray 2015 Nissan Pathfinder. Investigators did not say how many guns were stolen. If you have information or see the cars, you're asked to contact the ATF at 1-888-ATF-TIPS. A task force that works to get guns off the street is celebrating what it says are its successes in the last year. News 8's Kyla Russell shows us the numbers.
The Indiana Crimes Gun Task Force is reflecting on all the ways they've worked to address violent crime in the city and beyond this year. They say just in 2024, they've investigated over 150 leads. Those investigations led to over 270 illegal guns taken off the streets. 20 of those had been converted with machine gun devices.
The numbers have went up as far as our federal arrests this year, for sure. The firearms have been pretty consistent from last year with what we've seized. We have seized more machine gun conversion devices this year.
Police seized more than 165 pounds of illegal drugs, including nearly 20 pounds of fentanyl. They also confiscated $400,000 from illegal activity and arrested 232 people. 16 of them are charged federally.
We're very proud of that, and we're committed to continuing that, and I think the criminals need to take notice that we're serious about working together and reducing violent crime here in Indianapolis.
The task force is made up of over 10 federal, state, and local agencies. It uses a comprehensive strategy to curb violence. The strategy includes targeting repeat offenders, charging armed drug traffickers. Over 1,300 crime guns have been seized since the task force's inception, and they want that number to grow.
Continued partnerships by even more suburbs would help the greater fight of helping reduce the crime, and I think that equates back to our cities being safer as well.
The task force is hopeful we're in the same exact spot this time next year, talking about all the ways that crime has gone down in 2025. Reporting here in downtown Indianapolis, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV. WishTV.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
Jane King wraps up her first week of business headlines at the New York Stock Exchange.
Been an interesting transition, but a good one. So Bankrate found that 44% of American adults expect to see their financial situation become either somewhat or significantly better next year. Less inflation was the most common reason behind these rosy outlooks. Now, for instance, over a third of Americans that anticipate they'll see better financial situation next year report rising income as one of the reasons as well. Well, after months of store closures and filing for bankruptcy, Big Lots is preparing to close all of its locations. More than 400 stores have already been closed, and the remaining ones are having going out of business sales. The company said it would continue to serve customers in stores, at least the ones that are open, as well as online. And the House defeated a new shorter budget bill, so government funding will lapse without congressional action over the weekend. However, most TSA employees and air traffic controllers are considered essential and would be required to work through a partial government shutdown, so it should not disrupt holiday travel. And a possible TikTok ban is looming. It could cost creators and small businesses an estimated $1.3 billion in just 1 month. Small business owners could soon find themselves out of business since they use the platform to connect and sell directly to their customers. Well, stocks kind of bounced back yesterday. The Dow was up 15 points, pretty weak bounce, and I got to tell you, this morning does not look good. The Nasdaq's pointing down almost 400 points. Dow's down more than 300 for the open today. Live from the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King. Back to you.
The annual Bleed Blue blood drive is happening today at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Colts host it each year. It started at 7 this morning, runs through 5:30 this afternoon. Organizers say they hope the event can save up to 3,000 lives. If you donate, you'll get a football, and you can step on the field and see the Lombardi Trophy from the Colts Super Bowl win. You can also be in a drawing for game tickets. We have the registration link up on wishtv.com. Indy Humane is looking for people to foster pets over the holidays. The shelter says you can take an animal home for 2 days over Christmas Eve and Christmas, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. You can also foster a pet for 2 weeks from December 23rd to January 4th. Indy Humane says it will provide you with everything you need to take care of the pets. You can sign up now online. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook for updates.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.